So if you've noticed through our examples with gray coverage, we used this breakdown of how to formulate. We call this our 5 easy steps to color formulation. To start off, you're going to want to find your client's natural level. To do that, you can use this chart in the back of your swatch book. You can use the level systems here, part your client's hair, and you're going to find what their natural level is. You're not necessarily looking for warmth or coolness or what their tone is, just what their starting level is. Next, you're going to look for their desired level. That's where the consultation comes in. What is their goal level? What are they looking to achieve? How light or dark do they want to go? And what tone is their goal? Next is your volume. That is pretty much determined for the most part based on going from your natural level to your desired level and tone. And you'd think, great, this is a good stopping point, but the last two on this, the last two steps here play an important role in your formulation and can change everything. So this is your percentage of gray. So that can factor into your formulation as we talked about before, because with gray coverage, if it's minimal, then you can use 25% of an N series. If it's 50% gray, you're using 50% of an N series with plus 50% of your desired tone. So it can break that down as well. Next, you have your underlying pigment. This affects so many things. I've had so many stylists in my career tell me that they're trying to achieve those cool tones when they lift, and they hate lifting with color because all they get is warmth. That's because they're not taking into consideration the underlying pigment when they're lifting. You have to consider it to get reliable results. So let's do a couple examples so you can see what I mean. We're just gonna move this real fast. Oh. Technical difficulties. Hold, please. Okay. Can you see that? Great. So, the first one we're going to do is a natural level. I've already written it out. So we have a natural level 4, and their desired level and tone is to be a 5B. And we need to figure out what volume we're going to use. We've already determined that they don't have any gray, lucky girl. And because we are only lifting one level, we don't have to factor in the underlying pigment. So, for this one, because we're lifting one level, we'll be using 20 volume. So for the formula, we'll be using 1 ounce 5B plus 1 ounce of 20 volume, and process for 30 minutes. Now, if we're wanting let's do another one. So let's change it up a little bit. And go darker this time. So we have a natural level 7, and they'd like to be, let's say, a 6, let's do a 6 red brown. So we'll do, because we're going down one level, we can deposit, so we would do 10 volume, but let's wait and see what their gray is. And again, she is very lucky. She has no grays. Her underlying pigment does not go into effect here. It's not part of the formula because we are going down, so we don't have to put anything there. So we know that this is going to be 10 volume for deposit only. So we would do 1 ounce of 6RB plus 1 ounce of 10 volume. Process 30 minutes. Let's do another one. This time, let's add some gray. Gotta give some love to the clients who've got the gray coverage too. Okay, so for this one, let's say she's a natural level 4, and she wants to be, let's say she wants to have a little warmth and a little bit lighter. So we'll have her be a 5G, and let's say she is 50% gray. We don't have to, again, we don't have to factor in the underlying pigment because we are only going up one level. So we don't need that. So we're going from a level 4 to a 5G, and we know that we have 50% gray. So because we're doing this, this will let us know that we are using the 20 volume anyway, and going from one level, we're using a 20 volume. So that's pretty easy. So because of this, we also know that we need to factor in an N. So to give it that nice, like, warm feeling, with a little bit of control, I like to use an NB, just a little natural brown. So we'll do 1 ounce of 5NB plus 1 ounce of 5G, and we'll use 2 ounces of 20 volume. And for this, because we are doing gray coverage, we want to process for an additional 10 minutes. So instead of 30, we're going to process for 40 minutes. Everyone on board with everything? Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to do an example that does include some underlying pigment. Because let's face it, we all know that that is going to be something that comes up with your clients. Okay, so for this one, let's say she's a level 4 again. I'm just feeling the darker colors today. Okay, so her desired level, let's say she wants to be a 7. Let's have her be a 7B. And she is, let's say she's lucky, she doesn't want to have any gray. So she's no gray. She's very lucky. I'm very jealous. Okay, so we know that she's a natural level 4, and she wants to be a level 7B. Doesn't have any gray, but we're going more than 2 levels, so we know that that underlying pigment is going to play a part. And the underlying pigment for level 7 is gold. So we know that to achieve that level set, that 7B, we need to control that underlying pigment. So first and foremost, we need to know what volume are we going to use. And for the sake of this formula example, we're going to say that she's got fine to normal hair. So we know that we can use, that's right, 30 volume. Okay, so now for the formula. We have everything laid out here, but how is that going to translate into the formula now that we have to factor in the underlying pigment? So what are some shades that we can use into our formula that are going to control that gold tone? Right, we can use the ash. If it's really strong, we can use the double ash. We can use there's natural ash. You can even use the natural ultra ash. You can use the silver metallic. You have so many options. Just depends how strong her hair is naturally. That hangs on to that really, and how resistant that hair is. But we're gonna say that she's, with her fine normal hair, she's also not super resistant. So we're gonna stick with just an ash. So we're gonna do 1 ounce of 7A plus 1 ounce of 7B with 2 ounces of 30 volume. And we're going to process that for 30 minutes. So those are just a few formula examples of how you can use our 5 easy steps to formulation to create really anything that you're looking to achieve. If you'd like to copy it all down, I highly recommend it. You can also, again, use your color manual to follow along with everything I've gone over. Great.